So I was watching a video where people call in. It's like one of those Dave Ramsey offshoots, but it's more about, it's not financial, it's more about like family and marriage. And one guy called in and he's talking about how his wife doesn't show care for him. She doesn't give him sexual relations.
Also about like, you don't hold my hand, you leave the room when I walk in, like there's not that gentle touch on my shoulder. Like, so there's a whole picture here. When you brought that up,
right,
she just said, this conversation's over, I'm out.
She disrespects him to some extent. She has no concern. He was saying he got into like a car accident and he came out okay, a little bit shaken, but that night, he asked his wife to give him just a back rub and she didn't want to do that. He says that he tried everything to fix the relationship with his wife. He tried to talk to her, spend time. He wrote her poems.
I've done the direct approach where I sit her down and talk to her. I've written her letters. I've written her poems. And it was almost kind of like, well, this is ridiculous. Like,
and none of this seems to be working. One thing that stood out to me when I was watching this is I've actually seen this a lot. I've seen this, where men try to build this merit of why a woman needs to be attracted to him. He's saying, I write her poems. How could you not accept my poems? I've seen it a lot with like other people, with their girlfriends. It's like I buy her teddy bears, I buy her flowers, and the girl's not interested. Estranged wives, husbands say, oh, but I cook and clean every day. But the wife is not interested. There's another problem. There's a bigger problem. And there's a reason why the woman is not affectionate. She doesn't care about this stuff. There's obviously something bigger. That's like when a person is abusive, and he beats his spouse, and then he says, oh, why are you leaving me? I take you out to dinner all the time. That's irrelevant for this situation. This is actually, the word for this is actually trauma bonding. I'm not saying that all men in this situation are abusive, but some were almost physically abusive, like coming towards that level. But what I'm saying is, the point is, there's obviously a bigger problem. And if you're watching this and you've got, your wife's not affectionate to you or something, and you insist that you're not, you insist that you're not abusive, but it's just a point. When I'm saying abusive, it's just a point. Another example, another analogy I can say is like the bad smell analogy. Let's say someone has a horrible smell and you don't want to be near that person because of this overpowering smell, and you try to go to your partner. You've got this overpowering bad smell. You try to go to your partner and you write them poems and you buy them teddy bears, and they're not interested because of this overpowering smell. And this is the smell that I'm talking about is metaphoric, right? It's for something. Sometimes the spouse doesn't even know exactly what it is, but it is something that they can sense. It's not something that they know, but it's something that they can sense. And that's what I mean, that there's a bigger problem. That's why it's the men that's trying to build their merit. Well, I do this, I write poems, but there's a bigger problem. So welcome to my channel where I talk about bikes and Bible verses, and today I'm going to give a few points on what some of those problems are. What makes you despised and weak. And the first thing I want to talk about, this has got nothing to do with physical strength or weakness. I know a lot of people who are small and not muscular, but they're very strong. Strength that I'm talking, it comes from the heart. Strength actually comes from within. You can call it spiritual, you can call it like mental, but it comes from within. I know a lot of people who physically they're very small, but they're very strong people. They're people to be feared. And I know some very big people, very muscular people, but they're very weak. Strength is within. It's got nothing to do with your physical. And just another thing on weakness, we're plagued by this fake it until you make it mentality. I really hate when people talk about that. People try to give you things to hide your weakness. They say things like, you know, to attract a woman that you want, you have to ignore her. If you stop chasing women, then women come running after you. But that's fake. You're putting a band-aid over the problem. If you were a real man, you will naturally, if you did the points that I'm going to talk about later, you know, you could pretend to not chase women, but internally you're just simping for them. You're still weak. You're still despised. It's only a matter, you might be able to trick the woman, but she's going to find out in a short matter of time. Real men don't simp over women, you know, because they're not needy. They're not selfish. They've expended all their energy on working hard, and women run to them. You don't need to fake anything. If you're new in a field, you don't need to fake that you know what you're talking about. You can just say, I'm new. Usually people who are really going to get somewhere in life, there's something within them. They know they can get somewhere, but they have to admit at the beginning that they're beginners, that they don't really know, you know, they're not that experienced. But it doesn't mean they're not going to reach the top. They're going to reach the top because there's something inside that drives them to get there. They don't have to pretend and lie about knowing what they're talking about. My first point in things that make you weak and despised, a common bad smell that people have is they see the other person. So I'm talking about like a man and a woman here. This, you know, they see the woman, the man sees the woman as a pleasure toy. Okay, that is a bad smell. You know, even if it's not a physical pleasure toy, it can also be an emotional pleasure toy. You know, you think you love someone, but really you just want them as a toy for you. And the woman will see right through that. Women can see, like, women are biologically ingrained to pick up these things, to pick up when a man sees a woman as a pleasure toy, even an emotional pleasure toy. And you're wondering why these women running away from me. It's because they don't know why, but they can sense it. They can sense that you're seeing them as a pleasure. You yourself might not even know it. So a lot of this selfish desire, you know, seeing women as just a plaything, is grown by people who you know, are fapping on pornography. That emotion is grown. One expert in psychology and relationships, she's on YouTube a lot, and she says, you know, people who are into, you know, pornography, engaging in that, also tend to go down to the path of engaging with prostitutes. What happens is some men, they bypass the prostitute and they try to find a decent woman, and to them that is the woman that they want to make their plaything. If you're into pornography, then you're feeding yourself with things that make women an object for you. And so you want a woman to be your plaything, whether physical or emotional. And you disguise it, it's like under the guise of love and affection for a decent woman, but a woman can see through that. She can, and that's why she's not interested in, you know, a long-term relationship with you, because she can see through what you really are. Second point on what makes someone weak and despised is self-preservation. Having this thing of constantly, everything is self-preservation. You know, in ancient Greek mythology, they talk about, you know, those men who hang back in the battlefield. They want to stay back. They want to stay behind all the soldiers. They don't want to get hurt. Women are attracted to men who want to go out and get the prize, so they can bring the prize home and the wealth home and share it with their family. One form of preservation is being a tightwad. There's something manly when a man his hand is open to give money, you know, to give money to his family, to give money even to lend others. You know, he's not scared. He's got the inner confidence to know that if his money runs low, he can go out and get. You know, he's got the confidence. He's not scared. So one of those bad smells is being a tightwad, because you think you have to hoard that money because money doesn't come often for you. You got that mentality. You could be rich and you can still have that mentality. You know, someone who's not someone who's not worried about self-preservation has confidence. They're not scared. One thing I noticed about this man,
she's very dismissive also of things that are important to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. It's something small, but it came up the other day. And one of the things that I've asked her to do is, look, if she's going to have any friends or family come over, just let me know so I know in advance they're coming. And she hardly ever does it. And the other day, someone just popped up and I had no idea they were coming. And I asked her, I said, why didn't you tell me they were coming? She's like, I don't need to tell you that.
a lot of people watching this might think, yeah, this guy's wife's so cold, she doesn't care about him. But I stepped back from all of that, the direction it was going in, and the picture he was painting about his wife. And I asked myself, like, why does he care? Like, why does his wife have to tell him if, her relatives are coming over? To me, there's a bad smell there. Why does the wife have to constantly be on her toes? What if her sister comes over unannounced, and, while she's there enjoying the company of her sister, she needs to go out secretly and call her husband each time and tell him, my sister's here. Like, that's weird. There's something wrong there. Making someone always on their toes. So he's painting this picture saying, oh, look, what a bad person my wife is. She says, I don't need to tell you, when I actually think she's right. Why does she have to tiptoe for him? What, just because some relatives come over? There's too much. It's even emotional self-preservation. He doesn't have the confidence just to come home and see, there's a backstory behind that. It's weird. There's something up. And that's why people, are despised. It's things like that. They don't see it. So anyway, I just want to share a Bible verse here. As I usually do. A lot of my ideas on these insights that I have come from being close with God, being connected with God, reading the Bible. So I'm going to read from Psalms 112, 1-4. It says, blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. His descendants will be mighty in the land. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness endures forever. Light rises in the darkness for the upright. The Lord is gracious, merciful, and righteous. So if you're interested in more videos like this to talk about life in general, I've got a playlist. I've got two main playlists on my channel. One for just when I'm talking about bikes, and the other one when I'm talking about these sort of philosophical things. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you like my content in general, please subscribe. And if you are riding a motorcycle, take it easy and ride safe.